Hi. A few users left some comments on my page I'm going to address, but I'm not going to respond to their comments in the video in the sense that you could click and go see their page, because they don't deserve the attention. When I first started talking about my family history, the biggest insult was people saying that I'm not related to my uncle. We proved that from time to time again, and the next big insult was that I was a cousin of my uncle's, which I'm not. People weren't paying attention. They were trying to distance myself from the colonel as much as they possibly could to insult me. Now everybody understands I'm the three great nephew of the colonels. The big insult now is that I'm not a grandchild of the colonels. Who cares? Who cares if you're a grandchild of the colonel, a nephew, aunt, whatever you are? It doesn't matter. We're all family. And that's what matters, is being family. So I'm going to say this just to shut these clowns up. And this is in no disrespect to my cousins. You want to make an insult and say, what's the big deal? I'm not making a big deal, but if you want me to make a big deal, I'll make a big deal for you just to show you any kind of significance that you're looking for. Because the biggest deal for me is that I'm proud of my family history because the nephews were involved in Kentucky Fried Chicken and the history of it as well. But you people who make these comments don't understand what it is to be proud of your family heritage and the history. Uncle James was a nephew of the Colonel's, and he was involved heavily in Kentucky Fried Chicken. Lee Cummings was a nephew of the Colonel's. He was involved heavily in Kentucky Fried Chicken. Uncle Harley didn't even have his kids or grandkids that involved as much as his nephews were. And really, that was just because of their own interests, not being interested in working for Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now, after Lee left being president of KFC, the Colonel's grandson, Harlan Adams, took over being vice president, and John Y. Brown Jr. took over being president. So you want to keep prodding at me, trying to make me as insignificant to my family as possible. Well, I'll say this much. I am the last Sanders in Colonel Sanders' family line. I carry the last name, his grandchildren don't. My other cousins do not carry the last name. There's only a select few Sanders left alive related to the Colonel today. I'm a Kentucky Colonel and my last name is Sanders. And if you're asking yourself, well, why does your name matter? Well, if it didn't matter, why did KFC offer to pay the tuition of several children's colleges if the parents would name them Harlan David? Because they didn't want their founder's name to disappear in time. If I go without having kids, the Sanders last name in the Colonel's family dies off, unless my father happens to have another son. That's my significance in the Colonel's family. Not just holding up his legacy and making sure the history is accurate, making sure people aren't sharing misinformation. That's the significance. His last name in regards to him is gone when I am. But I don't talk about that much because I rather talk about his history and making sure the misinformation is out and sharing my family's stories with other people interested. Now drop it.